Hi, today we're going to do a calculation. First off, we're visiting the Census.gov website. We're pulling out some new data. This data includes the population data for 6 additional states. They're currently U.S. colonies. They include American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, New Columbia, which is currently known as Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now we're grabbing that data and we're plugging it into this new spreadsheet. In this spreadsheet, we're kind of grabbing information from a prior video. We had already tabulated the apportionment for the 2010, or based on the 2010 census. So we've already tabulated in a prior video exactly how many seats each state was going to get based on the 2010 census, exactly how the apportionment is set up in the Congress of the United States as we speak. So the big question is, if we add 6 more states, how would that affect the current representation for the existing states? And so that's the whole purpose of this video, is to do a side-by-side comparison. We want to grab data that we had put in another video, and we're going to grab new data that we're plugging in from this video, so that way we can simply put the two sets of information side by side and look to see who gains, who loses as far as representation in each state based on a side-by-side comparison using the current apportionment formula. Now, at anothergreatcompromise.org, what you'll find is there's a new formula that's being proposed. That formula, in my personal opinion, is there's more gainers across the board as opposed to using the existing formula where there's nothing but losers for the existing states. In the new formula, you'll have a lot more gains across the board for everyone, at least the majority of the smaller states. And it's more of a balanced approach to apportionment. But getting back to this video here, where we've already done all the calculations as far as the multipliers, and ultimately what we're going to do now is we're going to determine who gets seats number 57 through 435. 57 because we have 56 states and each state gets one representative. So what we need to do is use these multipliers to determine who's going to get seats 57 through 435. So just made these calculations here, and now what we're going to do is, once we determine exactly how many states we have, we're going to count exactly how many times a state appears, and now we're just grabbing the information off of a pivot and we're sticking it in. And here's the actual tabulation here for 56 states. I'm grabbing all the new states and plugging them at the very bottom, so that way when I grab the information that I had in a prior video, I can actually just overlay it nice and simply and then do a side-by-side comparison. So there's the tabulation, or at least the overlay. And now you're seeing side-by-side. Let's see here, right there. You see the side-by-side information. So now the next step here, and there in that column, is the side-by-side comparison as far as who gains and who loses. Now, over the next few seconds, what you'll see is I'll be doing a little bit of formatting, and ultimately, I spent a little bit of time just doing some formatting, and then I thought to myself, wait a second, why format when you can just leave it as is? Anybody that looks at this data, they can see the plus and the minuses, so they can see the gainers and the losers. However, you can format all you want just by grabbing the information. That I'll put a link to the source data, so that way you can grab that and you can look at it yourself and do all the formatting that you like. But the data is here. I'll make sure that I put a link to this file, so that way you can take a look at it. But here's the final editing and we're all set. Thank you.